good. Good morning, good morning, good morning. But this is the day that the Most High Creator has made, so let us rejoice and be glad in it. Once again, we find ourselves blessed that we was touched by the finger of life, that we woke up and we now see this blessed day. So I have myself today, but I have company today. I'm not by myself. I still elected to come out on the lake because the wind is blowing, the water is sounding real spiritual. It's flowing. Brother Charlie West is here with me. You'll be hearing Charlie's voice. You don't see him, because some people don't like the fact that I record on Facebook, but it is what it is. That's what I want to do. It's my equipment, so I do it. So, but you hear Brother Charlie all the time. You just don't see him that much. So him and I are going to have dialogue on some scripture. The scripture today we're going to dialogue on is going to be Ezekiel 37, 12 to 14. We're going to talk about that a little bit. And then we're going to move to John 11, to the whole chapter. The story, a very familiar story, a story that normally in the cycle end up around this time, because, you're dealing with Lent and all that stuff. You're dealing with the purification, the preparation of, the preparation of the celebration of the assassination of Haru Yahshua, whatever one you want to call him, Haru Yahshua, Jesus. But, dealing with the assassination, because the truth is, come on, Sister Donna, blessings. The truth is that Jesus wasn't, they say that he was crucified, but he was assassinated. He was assassinated for his stand on the treatment of the lower class people, how people was abusing and using people in the name of the Most High Creator, as you see today with these people begging, collecting all this money, the money not going back in the communities, to strengthen the communities, that the communities may be made whole again. And so it's like, the Pharisaic church still exists to today. But then they have some of us that's trying our best to stay rooted in what we believe to be the truth and the true truth. And as for me, I feel like God gave me, namaste, Sister Donna. God gave me the ability to earn and to get my own stuff. I didn't have to come to church and deceive people. The Bible says this, y'all, and then I'm going to move on. The Bible said the devil come to rob, to steal, to kill, and destroy. But the Yahshua, Jesus, Haru says, but I come that you might have life and have life more abundant. Now, what's abundant life? One must ask that question, because obviously we define that thing differently. We have different definitions. Some define it as having a lot of materialism, true materialism, some monetarism of materialism in monetarism. Some define it and they're willing to give back to society, which the so-called church is supposed to be designed to do. That's why the church was a neighborhood. It was a place for the community to come and meet, deal with the issues going on in the community. If they had some that didn't have, Brother was talking about this morning, Brother Richard Jordan, in Acts 2, around 48, where the people sold some of their possessions, brought it to the feet of the apostle to share with the people, because that's what it was all about. It wasn't for somebody to be rich, and it just wasn't the things that we see. Good morning, Sister Mary. The things that we see now, it's a disgrace to the Most High Creator. So, as we talk, and again, I hope you all stay in the talking about when we get to to John, and we talk about Lazarus and what went on with Lazarus. Now I know we all done heard that story. Like I said, in the cycle, and I don't care, lectionary cycle, in the Catholic Church and the Catholic and a lot of churches like that have the lectionary cycles where we go cycle A, B, C. Protestant churches don't necessarily have the lectionary cycles, but they all go around the same things because y'all celebrate the same events. You know, that sometimes if you belong to so-called, like I do, I supposed to, but I don't know if I do, belong to an organization that have a specific purpose, supposed to be designed to meet the needs of a specific type of people. Some of us belong to stuff that I live in New Orleans and my pastor church is in Dallas. I send my money to Dallas, but around me, my community is degrading. We don't have stuff that we need. Why? Because the resources that God intended, listen to this, the resources that God intended to stay in the community have been hijacked, stolen, and sent out of the community. The community can't be whole. Secondly, we get in our cars and we go to church. Used to be a church was in walking distance from your house. Again, it's a communal organization. So we get in our car, we go to church, we leave church, and we'll be back for us Tuesday, some Wednesday, and after that we don't be around. So the community, what's the benefit of having us in the community if the community don't see us in the community, if that makes sense? But if the community was living that, then it would have a vested interest in that community being successful, because that's where they call home. But everyone know, and I'm sure your sisters on here too, know your money go where your head rests. But anyway, so we're going to go to Ezekiel, Brother Charlie West, read Ezekiel 37:12 through 14.
Therefore prophesy and say unto them, Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, O my people, I will open your graves and cause you to come up out of your graves, and bring you into the land of Israel. And you shall know that I am the Lord, when I have opened your graves, O my people, and brought you up out of your graves, and shall put my spirit in you, and you shall live, and shall place in you in your own land. Then you shall know that I am the Lord, have spoken and performed it, saith the Lord.
Okay, and so Ezekiel, what is God saying? I'm going to wake you up from your graves. I'm going to place my spirit in you. And what else he said?
Put you in your land. What is that at? Put you in your own land.
And you know why I'm stressing that point. I know you know. But I'm stressing that point, my sisters that's on with us, because we see a lot of war have taken place, and we was talking about this on the way here, Brother Charlie and I. And the war is about land, but we still see to today that only a third of the land is populated. So if God is the God of all creation, all goodness and everything, then why would God have to kill up people to give people land that they have abundance of? Do that really make sense to you? It don't make sense to me for some reason. For some reason, that rubber don't quite hit the road for me. What about you, Brother Charlie?
Well, you touched on that this morning when you talk about an acquaintance of ours. He got, somebody gave him a privilege to go and sit in their yard. But if they take that privilege away from you, you don't, now you got to find somewhere else to sit. Mm-hmm. But if that's your own front yard, you can sit there whenever you want to. Mm-hmm. And then you have the right to tell people not to come into your yard. Mm-hmm. That is yours. So if we don't own it, that means we always subjugated to someone else rules in authority.
Right. You know what? You're right. You know what gets me a lot is how people often talk about God from a perspective of, like, okay, in Ezekiel here in the Old Testament, God says something powerful, and this is what people have to get, because we get so much damnation preaching where people are damning us to hell, and God is not happy with us, and God is not pleased. Like I said, I've been doing this I've been coming to this church 29 years, I've been preaching 20. If God is not pleased with me, why should I keep wasting my time? Why, if I'm going to hell, then why shouldn't I just go and enjoy it, since all the effort that I'm putting forward? But see, that shows you that doctrine is the doctrine of, I call, enslavement. It's not intended for you to ever see yourself as being potentially free.
Right.
And I like, how you say, and ye shall know that I am the Lord when I open your graves, O my people, and brought you up out of your grave, and shall put my spirit, listen to this, in you. Now see, so when you talking about putting the spirit in you, you talking, God is saying that I'm gonna put my God self inside of you. So now once God, the Bible says good and evil can't dwell in the same place. Uh-huh. So when God comes inside of you, and that means you seal. That's why I tell people all that you have to be judged. That's just a big lie. That's not even biblical. And then another thing, if people talk about, well, they're going to heaven, that's not even scriptural either, that people are in heaven. It's not. Because they use, one of the biggest scriptures they use, John 14, that I go to prepare a place for you in my Father's house, all that stuff. But he also said, there where I go, you should also come. Uh-huh. But here's the part that you never hear him say, I'm going to return for you. Uh-huh. If I'm going to return for you, that means you have to wait upon my return before you can. And Apostle Paul said in 1 Thessalonians 4:13, I have you not to be ignorant by those who have gone to sleep in the Lord. You see? And so he says, and when the voice of the voice of God is going to come like an archangel, and the dead in Christ going to rise, and those who are living they should be all caught up in the whirlwind. That's what the Bible says.
Because see, me and the heaven thing have, I have, something's wrong with that whole scenario to me anyway. Because number one, what's wrong with the old heaven? Because they got to create a new one. Mm-hmm. Okay, so at the end, when judgment day comes, there's two places people going, right?
That's what they say.
Okay, according to what they say, heaven and hell, mm-hmm. Right? So if it's only two places that people are going, heaven and hell, why would there be a need for a new earth?
Well, that's always been a controversial statement, a statement that rises up in controversy. Good morning, my baby daughter. Good morning, baby. It's always been because, the Bible says heaven and earth should pass away, but the word of God should stand forever. But then it's talk about a new earth, a new heaven and a new earth. It also said new heaven, mm-hmm. A new heaven and a new earth. So that's the thing is that the people that enforce this stuff on the masses of the people, they could never let them feel be complete.
Right.
Now we often talk about that you have, because the Bible tell you, and Paul in 2 Corinthians 3:2 said, for you are the epistle of God, not written in ink, but written by the Spirit of the living God, not engraved in stone, but engraved in the flesh tab of your heart. So God just said here in Ezekiel that I'm gonna put myself inside of you. Uh-huh. And Jeremiah, God says that I'm going to live inside of you. So God constantly saying, I'm going to live inside of you. I'm going to live in you. Yeah. but people constantly telling you disconnected from
Right.
God. So you can't be disconnected. Because I had to show this guy this, and he was one of them. And I said, well, why God says, if I'm so disconnected, why the Bible says that I'm a God? And then if I'm a God, that means that I have to take on some of the powers of the power that be.
Right.
So, and if you argue that point, it's like he says, once saved, always saved. Yeah, but my thing is most people that think they say, because the Bible says some people have a form of godliness but denying the power thereof. The thing is, it's not. If you godly, you don't have to go around announcing it.
Right.
It announces itself.
I was told about that once saved, always saved by my grandmother, and she says like riding a bicycle. And once you know how to ride a bicycle, you know how to ride a bicycle. So it doesn't mean that hey man, okay, I ain't rode it in a while and it's hard now.
But
you know what to do. You've been educated.
But you have to get back acclimated,
right?
And that's all. But you don't lose the.
Yeah.
So that's why they say God says, "I never leave you, nor will ever forsake you, but I'm gonna be with you even to the end of all time." So as far as one way they teach that God is always with you, but another thing they say that you can disconnect from God. Now you have the right to not utilize the God inside of you, but the very essence of the life that exists in us is God. Mm-hmm. So to say that everyone and everything on the planet have God, trees have God, they have life. Anything that have life, God represents life. Mm-hmm. So God, we say God, I say the Most High Creator, because God is just a title, it's not a name. But nevertheless, if that's the case, if Yeshua, Jesus, Haru said, Father, I'm not asking you to take them out of the world. I'm asking you to take the world out of them. Sanctify them with thy word, for thy word is true. That's what he said. So then you telling me that I don't meet the mark when he asks him to leave me here, but just make sure that I'm sealed in God. Now, if I'm sanctified, that means I'm sealed. If I'm sealed, I've been judged. I passed the test. So they make you think that you have to die. Let me tell you something. The whole scam that they run is for you not to maximize your potential on planet Earth.
Yep.
For you not to know how good of a Charlie West you could be. Go ahead.
You familiar with the Lord Prayer, right?
Shirley Johnson, yes.
Okay.
Riley, long time no see. Hey, cousin, God bless you. God bless you. Y'all, you could put something on that, Derek, like if you have a comment. Anyone have a comment on something I'm saying? Hey, anyone have a comment on something I'm saying? You can put your comments on. Just an open session. Go ahead, Brother Chuck.
So, they get away from, you get all these other different prayers, but nobody really now from my understanding, the Lord's Prayer is an example of how you're supposed to pray.
Somewhat.
Okay. So
not you don't have to say those words.
Right.
But
what I'm looking at is those words in particular.
No, they taught us that, but that's not true.
Okay, so
it's just saying the things that should be included in the petition.
What I'm getting at is that if it say, "Let it be done on earth
as it is in heaven,"
as it is in heaven.
Yeah.
So why we ain't concentrating on "Let it be done on earth" part?
Because again, Charlie, you could at any time an elephant can kill a human and get on about his business. But when you make him forget he an elephant, then you could tie him up with a piece of thread and he won't break it.
Yeah.
Now, once he remember he's an elephant, then you got him chained to a tree. He could push the tree down. Yeah. You see, because he don't actualize his strength and his power because it's been taken away from him. Uh-huh. It's been hidden. It took me years to watch this movie, Color Purple, where Danny Glover was hiding from your girl that her sister was sending letters over the years, so she thinking they forgot about her, but all the time it was there, but someone was keeping them disconnected. Right. So this is how the church now is designed to keep you disconnected, because if you connect and you get God, then they're afraid that your money gonna stop coming to the collection plate. Uh-huh. And it's all about money. It's not about you have enough people in this New Age church. This is the way I feel. Now, this is my opinion. In this New Age church, you have enough people that churches should be. You should have 50 churches in every community. Because you don't need but 10, 20 people per church, then you got the whole community on lock.
Yep.
Now, guess what? Drug dealers got to go. Guess what? Crime, you're out of here.
Yep.
Why? Because the church is taking back up. This is, again, why the church was a local organization.
Right.
Why the church was intended to be a local entity. Because the people that it affect live right there by it. You see? So they have a real interest in it being what it's supposed to be, because it give them peace and harmony in their own lives.
Yep.
You know. So anyway, you go ahead, Charles. You got something else to
Oh
say?
no. I was agreeing with you on that.
But I do like how God said, I'm gonna put my spirit in you. So we got to deal with that.
Yeah.
So once God come in you, because the Bible said good and evil can't dwell in the same place. So, and God says in Ezekiel, here in Ezekiel that, and he said, I took you out of your graves. Now, obviously, he didn't go to the graveyard as we and go get people. Mm-hmm. He went and got people that was unconscious.
Right.
That was the living dead. Mm-hmm. And meaning, so God still was in them. See, anything that's living, God is in it. But what happens is that they don't activate the God in them.
Right.
Just like you said, Our Father prayer been telling you that your earthly life is supposed to have heavenly experiences. Mm-hmm. That's what it says. And it says that it's done. It says finished, it's done. But if I don't know not only who I am, but whose I am. Because see, if you let religion or anything else dictate your destiny, you'll never get where you're trying to go. You'll never get where you're trying to go. You'll never get where you're trying to go. But when you begin to develop a relationship with the Most High, when you begin to, the Most High say, I know the voice of my people so that they know my voice. When you start getting that kind of relationship, and that's when no weapon formed against you could prosper, because you hear it when it's coming. And what I'm learning with our friend that we talked about, even in trying to share love, they don't take even constructive criticism well.
I was, and like you said, religion, right? I was, I won't say it's Confucius, or maybe some form of that, right? But because I thought for the longest, I thought it was part of the Bible, where it said, teach a man, give a man a fish, eat for a day.
Yeah.
But it's not in the Bible, but you cannot beat that quote.
No, but everything, the Bible only composed of a short time of history. Before that, actually, the information in the Bible come from
different,
further than what they dated as. So you still have people trying to say that the earth is only 9,000 years old, because they know they only been on the earth 9,000 years. But they just was, brother just was showing that they found a skeletal remain of a young African child, and that to kind of predates all the information is over 12,000 years. So to prove that we was the first one on this land. And but we should know that, like, my first cousin is Big Quince. My first cousin is on here. My first cousin, we all mixed up. We got Indian, I'm talking about close stuff. Like our great grandfather was 100%, he wasn't Cherokee, he was Choctaw. And my grandmother, his wife was, of course, from African. So you got the Indian, African. Then our grandfather, his great grandfather was Irish. So got that. On my dad's side, his grandmother was from Paris, France. His grandfather was a Canadian Indian. I'm all mixed up, but my DNA still came back as African, because that's us migrating, and that's what people not getting. It's migrate. You said. You said something, I think, earlier when I first picked you up about if something start here, that's something we was talking about. Say like a tree. If it's a African herb tree, and they pack it up and ship it here.
Translation.
Yeah, is it still an African herb tree, or do it become American herb tree? You see, because a tree is not where the fruit end up.
Uh-huh.
Where the fruit end up does not determine the home of the tree.
Right.
It's where the roots is planted that determine the home of the tree.
Yeah.
Where are your roots planted? Is your roots planted in the Most High Creator? Can you be mature enough now to know that here in Ezekiel 37, and I like this so much, Ezekiel 37:14, and shall put my spirit in you. And then here's the deal. In John 14:21, in 14:20, he says, the Yeshua says, I and the Father are one. I'm in the Father in me, so am I in you. Relationship. 23, he says, now me and the Father are going to make our abode with you. 26, and the Comforter is going to comfort, teach, and keep us and remembers all that was taught. So the things that people praying for all been promised and all is in place. But because they're not taught to pursue, they're looking for something that's been done already, Brother Charlie. That's why the church don't have no power, dude. The church is some people still, black people still. Do you know some black people were still slaves in the 1960s because they never knew about the emancipation?
Yeah.
Yeah. And still to today, sharecropping and all that.
Yeah.
So to today. And so in spirituality, we become spiritual slaves when we refuse to hear the voice of the Most High Creator. You know, when we're so locked in on stuff and stupidity that we can't see the forest for the trees. Because remember, the Apostle Paul says, study to show thyself approved before God, for workmen needed not to be ashamed, that you have to learn how to rightly divide the word of truth. That scripture freed me. Because I was confused about a lot of things. I was asking questions, but I was getting shoved off like I was trying to cause trouble, and I wasn't. I'm being analytical, and you analytical. You know how that is. Stuff have to make sense.
Right.
They have to, and faith don't make sense and make miracles. No, stupidness. It makes stupidness. That's why. How many times you see people marrying? Girl, you ain't been on a long time. Good to see you, my sister. I was thinking about you last week. I promise you I was. Stupid is, faith is not being stupid. The biblical definition of faith is in Hebrews 1:11-1. For faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Hope for. Now, what we supposed to hope for? They say Christ, the hope of glory. So our hope is supposed to be in God. It's not talking about a car. It's not talking about money. Not even talking about a job. It's talking about a relationship with the Creator. And then if you have a relationship with the Creator, then the Bible says, for the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. The Lord says that I'll never see the righteous forsaken, nor my seed beg for bread. This sister just came on here. She said, you always say it, but I have to say it again. I have no job. I have no job. I'm riding around trying to sell their $20 bags of weed, because I got a wife and children. And she called me, Bernard, man called me for a job. That was before the cell phone day. And so I called a man and got that job. I needed that job. I was out of work almost a year. I had a wife and 2 babies. I had a child. I had a baby in diapers. And she's also the same sister that told me, also the sister that told me that I was going to be a preacher. Years ago, she told me, she said, boy, you're going to be a preacher. So it did. Now you're smooth. Yep. But anyway, so when we start having a relationship with God, then we'll start seeing that we've been snowed for a long time, to include me. Because even like I was talking about the lectionary cycles and stuff, everybody, I don't care what type of religion, what you in as it relates to Christianity, so-called Christianity, Christendom, but it's the way. They're all dealing with, the Protestant churches don't deal with Lent so much, but they do.
Right.
But at the same time, because they sure sell fish flakes and stuff, but at the same time, they still have Palm Sunday, they still have Easter Sunday, all that stuff, that's all just, so then after that, I have ordinary time, then from ordinary time, you go back into Advent, then Advent to Christmas, for Advent bringing Christmas, so it's just a continuous cycle, but you never get nowhere. So when do I take advantage of Ezekiel 37-14? When do I take advantage of God's Spirit being written in my heart? So when do I become the powerhouse that God said that I now must become? Because Jesus says in John 14 and 12 that if you believe, great works have I done, but greater works have you yet to do. So if you constantly falling short, if you never meet the mark, then how again are you going to get the work done that's been assigned to your hands?
Yeah. I think most of it is people want to hear good things. And the downfall to hearing the good things is in order for you to hear good things, the way it's been taught, we got to tell you about how bad you are.
Right.
And it's just me, just my personal perception of things and how I came to certain conclusion that for the most part, religion and the people that are out there talking about it, they teach you to be retarded. You know. Now I have a phone here, right? So if my phone go dead, right? I got a phone. I can call anybody in the country on this phone, right? And so as long as my phone bill is paid, I ain't got to worry about no money or anything else to be paid. But my phone go dead. Now I got a battery in my pocket. Now if I need to make a phone call, and all I got to do is plug into this battery, and my phone come back on, and I got two hands and two eyes that are capable of me plugging this phone in, why I don't? Because somebody told me that in order for my phone to work, I need to have them plug my phone in.
Right.
Why do I need you to plug my phone in when I can do it?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So all I'm saying, you know, everything that and I goes back to the part about how you said it, rightfully discern my word.
Rightfully dividing the word of truth.
Right. So in that Bible that talks about truth and stuff like this, right? Can you rightfully divide that? Can you rightfully divide the truth that somebody is telling you? You know, so because somebody else's truth may not be yours.
Exactly.
You know, so we get caught up in this thing where, hey, give a good testimony, right? Do this, and then you got all these pastors here, and you sit there and you look at it. Okay, he's telling you some good stuff sometimes, but what's his motive? You know, is he telling you those motives to keep you in that grave that they're talking about?
Right.
Because in order for you to stay in that grave, somebody got to be the grave master.
Exactly. And that's why, I use it a little bit different. I say the slave help become the slave master, but you're saying the same thing.
Yeah, and so if you're a leader, you put it because it ain't that how is that thing? How they go? Many are chosen, or something few.
For many are called, but only a few are chosen.
Okay, so I think we look at this thing like, okay, God gonna choose us. Yeah. He might call you, but somebody got to choose to sit under you.
But here's the deal. But see, a calling, and this is where people confuse a calling at. People think a calling is just preaching. No. Let me tell you, you have people that's so gifted in things that will not be, like, I'm so shy, it's a shame. Like people be trying to, if you notice me, a big group of people come and say, I don't be in a hurry. Now, once I start talking, then I settle down. But the initial, because I'm bashful. Now, people think, because I'm so bashful and I hide it so well, people think that I think I'm better than them and I'm all that. But it's not that I stay isolated because I'm shy. I was always shy my whole life. I never had, and shy people don't have a lot of confidence. Over the years, I've been building up my confidence, but if you really know me, you would know that stuff don't mean nothing to me.
Well, so that's an example that you said, right? And shyness is not an issue. That's just not, that's just not a path that you was called to walk. Okay, but there's a thing that, okay, let's say for me and you, for instance, right? Okay, I have no problem going out there getting in the mud and getting dirty.
Right.
Okay, but if I'm gonna sit down and talk to you spiritually, my edges are real rough.
Right.
You're better suited at sitting down and having a conversation with somebody to help them get to another spiritual level. I'm better at getting your ass standing up, getting cleaned up, and say, well, hey, listen, now I'm ready to listen to somebody like you.
But Go ahead, finish.
And so there are different levels, and then you got some people that bravado.
But you're making the point that I was making. See, that's the point that I'm making. So your calling don't have to be preaching.
Yeah.
Your calling can be to shape people in the shape. See, there's many. I started off, and I say this all the time. I started off in the church as the janitor. They used to call it the sacristan. And only because when I saw what was happening, I jumped right in and started helping. Wasn't nice, didn't know nobody or nothing, just started doing. Because at that time, I swear, and this is a true story, I was so dumb, I didn't know that people got paid to do nothing for church. I thought everybody was volunteers. I really did. I had a whole concept about church that wasn't real. And once I got it, and so I chose to stay with what I thought or what I think that church is intended for. So I didn't I had people tell me, man, you getting a Southern Baptist, man, Southern Baptist giving away churches and nothing. And I said, no, I swear this is a true story. I said, no, I'm not doing that. I said, I don't care. I said, before I become a Southern Baptist, I blow my brains out. Southern Baptist was started by the KKK to keep you away. When they start seeing all the money black folks is foolishly put in church, because why I say foolishly put in church? Because you put your money up to help your community, to make your community strong. So if your money going anywhere outside of your community that you put up, then the church is not doing its job. And this is what James 1 and 27 says. Give to the widows, the poor. This is what the church is for. And in Acts 2, and they sold their possession and laid it at the feet of the apostles so that they distributed amongst the people. Again, in Acts 4, they said the same thing.
Yeah.
So at what point are we going to see? And this is why we have the disconnect. But the disconnect is intentional. But a lot of black preachers I'm going to say black, but black is not a nationality or nothing. It's really, but it's not even an accurate description. But I say that because they have no respect for them, because they're just sucking the wealth out of the community, and instead of the community can never get better with everything going out and nothing coming in it. So if the money stayed in there, then the houses like around our church, the houses we could acquire them little houses, build them, put people in them. I tried to get these people to do this before Katrina, but they couldn't see the vision. All they did is fault me like I wanted something. They said, well, what about me? I have a house. I said, well, shit, I have a house too. I ain't going to get none. This ain't about you. It's about the need of the people.
Yeah.
But people in church don't see that it's about the need of people. They don't. It's about what do I get out of it? And I learned that lesson, and it was hard for me. I almost had a nervous breakdown, because fighting against them people, man, them people fight against, I don't care what you do. The only thing they don't fight against when you bring money. But everything else, they fight. And I mean, how good? I'm like, if the church buying houses, it's not for the individual, for me. But, he just want more money to come in so we could pay him more money. I ain't never had, I swear on my mama, my daddy, nobody. I never ever did church for money, just to do it. I never got paid I got paid for doing one funeral, and I told the guy he didn't have to pay me, my gardener. He said, no, Rev, here. Cause I don't charge, like marriages and stuff, give me $150 or something like that, because you got to meet with people a couple of times. But I don't really charge, because God have blessed me. I never said right to forsaken my seed, beg for bread. Not one day did I not eat. Things was tough, but we ate. So I don't do this for money. Now, if money comes from it, I take it. Don't get it twisted. But I'm not doing this for money.
You're not putting a price on your service. No, man. And so when I give it, hey, man, because what was this? What my grandfather told me something, and we had this thing about elderly women. If there was widows and stuff like that.
Well, that's what it was for.
Right. And so if I go cut their grass, I wasn't charging them.
Right.
And so what some of the ladies would do, if they see my grandfather or my grandmother, they give them the money for me. Right? Because I wouldn't take the money. And so my grandfather told me, well, they know you're not charging, but so you're blessing them. They in turn is blessing you. So you don't stop somebody.
Yeah,
you don't stop them from blessing. Let them do their job.
But do you know that Sister D told me that? Because I used to didn't want to take nothing. She said, Pastor, you know how to give, but you don't know how to receive. You have to learn how to receive too. But I never wanted it to be said that all that nigga want is our money and all that kind of stuff, because it's not the truth. Now, if you hear that, you know they don't know me.
Right.
Because if you know me, you don't see me chasing behind dollars. People, the lady at the bank when I had the loans, it took her a week to get me to come in. She said, by the time I finally made it, because every day I kept forgetting, and when I finally made it, she said, you must not really need this money. I said, no, I'm just trying to establish a relationship with the bank.
Yeah.
You see, because God bless my life. So I don't, but now I could use more now. If I wanted more plain and stuff, if I win the Powerball and stuff, I would do that. But, or if something happened, but church, nah, I give my spirit away.
Because if you're not planting that seed, ain't nothing wrong.
But see, if you do, then people gonna come and they gonna sow, like the people did. The Bible says, as the sower, that should y'all say, God is not mocked. As a man sowed, that should also reap. But look at here in Samuel, 1 Samuel, I wanted to say, because when we talk about Ezekiel 37 and 14, where God said, I want to put my spirit inside of you. Now look at here. Now this Samuel, this was about David. You don't have to go there.
Okay.
This was about when God sent Samuel to Jesse's house, David's father, to seek his leader, his king. And so he brought his 2 warrior sons, no. 7 others, no. Is there another one? Yeah. The one that was not expected. As soon as he walked in the door, God said, that's him. So here's what the Bible said. Then Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the midst of his brethren. And the Spirit of the Lord, listen to this, and the Spirit of the Lord came upon David from that day forward. So Samuel rose up and went to Ramah. The Spirit of the Lord came on David and fell on David and stayed with him from that day forward. Now, the Bible in Isaiah 61, it said, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, for God has anointed me. In Luke 4, Jesus says that same scripture from Isaiah 61, 1 and 2, but he says something different in Luke 4, 18, 19. Guess what he said? He said, read that Spirit of the Lord is upon you, he have anointed you. And he said, in this day, this scripture have been fulfilled in thy hearing. So that means the Spirit of the Lord is upon you. And so if the Spirit of the Lord is upon you, it should stay with you forever. God said, I'll never leave you, nor will I ever forsake you. If in the day of Pentecost, when the Spirit descended upon the earth, it wasn't just preachers. It was ordinary people. When God comes in you, God don't leave you. Now, you might turn your God switch off sometime. Yeah. You understand? But God still lives. Because we are God. We know that. Image and likeness, you turn it back on, and you be forgiven. So I just wanted to say how in the Old Testament, how it points out that God is going to live inside of you. God's good. I'm going to go one more. I want to do one more place that I like with that too, and that's in Jeremiah. That's my. I like to go to Jeremiah 31 to 34. But he says, listen to this what God says in verse 33. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, saith the Lord, I will put my law in their inward parts, and write it in their hearts, and will be their God, and they shall be my people. Listen what verse 34 says. And neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith the Lord. For I will forgive their sins, forgive their iniquities, and I will remember their sins no more. So that sound like a God that want to punish you. So God, it keeps saying God said I'm right. Now, I like that because he talks about a new covenant.
Right.
Where they claim that the last covenant, the Last Supper, Jesus ushered in the new covenant. So what he says the new covenant is going to be, that I'm going to write my laws in the inward part of you in your heart. The Apostle Paul says in 2 Corinthians 2 and 3, 3 and 2. 3 and 2, not 2 and 3. 3 and 2. If I'm right, he says, for you are the epistle of God. You are the epistle of God. How can Paul write that? Because it's said other places. Because all the New Testament was supposed to be is confirmation of the Old Testament.
Right.
In other words, they used to say the Old Testament is the New Testament concealed, and the New Testament is the Old Testament revealed. That's what they say. So it have to, and so when you see that, so now what's the new covenant again? Inward part of you, that I'm gonna live inside of you. So if God live inside of us, how we going to hell? That's why I be telling them when they talk about the devil coming. Don't the Bible say that the very mere the sound name of Jesus, demons tremble? And if you're supposed to have God inside of you, you mean the devil's still getting in you? Do you really? Again, people don't really have. People have a form. The Bible says people have a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. Go ahead.
And see, that goes back to why I say,
Johnny, come on.
Some people get upset when I use the word retarded, right? And that's just my word, okay? If you have all this power, right? But one of their teachings is, if something good happened to you, that's God doing. Something bad happened to you, that's Satan doing. Now they got stuff like this going on with the virus and everything, but that's God punishing people.
That's some people say that. But what God you talking about? When God says that was not one perish, no, not one.
Yeah.
This is what the God of the Bible say now.
Right.
I wish not one perish, no, not one. That's what the Bible say.
And so, when you see these things, right, you say, well, wait a minute now.
What God you talking about?
If you ain't taking responsibility of your action, and that means you will never be in power.
That's right.
Either God is doing it, or Satan is doing it. Okay, that goes back to when you mentioned the man in the flood, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, you already been in power. He done already put everything, like he said, you put everything you need. Okay, when are you gonna say this is my doing?
Right.
Okay. There's a $100 bill blowing across that parking lot there. I see it. It just blew right on past me. Okay. Somebody walking down that way picks it up. Okay. Why would they pick it up and I not pick it up?
Right.
It passed by me first because I refuse to move. That's not God. That's not God. That's not Satan. That's me. And as long as you giving your lack of taking responsibility to something else, you will never be in power. Exactly. And that's one of the teachings. That's how people always. This is just how I see things when they teach about God, the Bible, whatever the case might be. About it is they teach you not to be responsible for your own actions.
Exactly. And until you learn, I'm dealing with a young lady right now telling her that you have to look in the mirror and tell that person the truth. Uh-huh. Until you can do that, I'm telling you, how do I know this? Because I had to do it. Your life be a big lie. Here's how I live now. And people be like, man, they'd say you're harsh. If you have to tell a lie, that means you know that you need to be fixed. Something needs to be fixed. Because if it was fixed, you wouldn't have to cover it up. Mm-hmm. You see, so why not work on it, make it better so you don't have to keep dealing with something that you could get behind you. The Bible says, get thee behind me. So why should I not just work on becoming better? So it starts with me. See, the only way life's going to be better for me if I make it better.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Don't ever tell me you've been praying for something for 20 years, and I'm going to tell you how stupid you are. Yeah. Because you're not doing something.
Yeah.
What people don't get is you have to put some skin in the game. If you look at Matthew 9:36-39, they say Jesus came over the horizon, and he said he was perplexed. He said, look at my sheep, scattered like sheep without a shepherd. Go ye and pray to the Lord of harvest that he send harvesters. He told them, go pray to Lord of the harvest that he send harvesters. You notice the words I'm using. And I quote, go ye and pray to the Lord of the harvest that he send harvesters. And guess what the Bible said in the next verse?
What's that?
And he anointed them and sent them. In other words, he was telling them, go pray for your strength, because I'm about to send you out there in the battlefield. But they didn't know that he was preparing them to go. See, they was going to pray for them to go. But he said, no, you really praying for you to go. And until you get you together and get that, you'll never be effective in this thing. Because this thing, it was you got to remember, this thing wasn't put together for you to find your freedom.
Nope.
It was put together for them to have control over the masses. And so when you start being free, you can find some beautiful stuff. This is a beautiful book. You know, they have some beautiful stuff in this book. Rightly divide the word of truth. I'm telling you, when I found that scripture, and then God sent somebody to me, I swear, all these true stories. God sent somebody to me, and that guy told me, God said, let them go, let the crowd go, but you stay doing what you're doing. God is pleased with you. Then I found Matthew 7:13. It said, broad and wide is the gate that leads to the road to destruction, and many will find it. But narrow and straight is the road that leads to salvation, only few will find it. When God sat down and said, I'm pleased with you, let the crowd go, you go. Man, these things that I really know happen.
Yeah.
This ain't no hypotheticals. This ain't a made-up story.
Yeah. I was sitting in a meeting back in like 2004. And they had a lot, everybody in there was all, women that was on Section 8. And the lady asked them, would you prefer, right at this moment, a credit score of 800 or $1,000, right? She said, everybody want the credit score of $1,000, please stand up. Out of 70 women, no, not one stood up. They really had that $1,000. Not knowing what an 800 credit score could do for you.
Right. Change your life.
That lack of knowledge right then and there, and that's what she said. You don't know what 800 credit score can do for you versus $1,000.
What the Bible said, people do what?
To die from the lack of perish
for lack of knowledge.
And so
they don't have the knowledge.
Right, and so we see all that. Like you said, we don't. That knowledge is what give us the ability to rightfully divide the word of truth, not faith.
Right.
Faith will keep us searching.
Well, faith is trusting that God is going to keep God's word. That's what people don't understand. See, faith is not, I got faith I can walk on the water. That's not God. See, God made you promises. God said, if you do this, I'm going to do this. Faith is that God is going to keep that promise. And so when I need, just like, I'm telling you, I must say this, then I got to go. We got to get to this, John. This is a true story. I come up with my own stories, but I tell my business a lot of times. Sometimes my wife don't like it, but it's true. It's a true story. We owed out about $12,000. And that whole week, my wife, Blanca, every day, Bernard, what we going to do about that money? We owe this, we owe that. She just kept on. Not one time did I say a word, Charlie. You hear what I'm telling you?
Yeah.
I did not say a word. And she kept asking me. Saturday evening, because my thing is, if we don't have it, we can't pay it. When we get it, we'll pay it.
Yeah.
Look what happened that Saturday. Saturday evening, 5 o'clock in the evening, late in the evening now. Because I'm thinking it's a prank phone call myself at first. Called me a lawyer office. I had put in a claim, because Allstate, it was a lot went on after Katrina. I put in a claim, but it says it's loan shot, but it's a loan shot. About 3 years later, I need this money. I swear, true story. That Saturday, that people called me, and I was skeptical. Then I called the number back to make sure the number was legit. So after he told me, said, yeah, you got a settlement from Allstate. It was settled for $25,000, but you have to give $10,000 back to Road Home, so you're gonna get $15,000. I mean, So my wife, she going to bingo, but she pessimistic. I always say that. I called her, boy, that ain't real. That ain't the truth. I said, don't you think I investigated before I called you? Because I know you was going to say that. So I already know what you were going to say. She get mad with me, but I already know what you're going to say. I investigated it. So that Monday came, now this Saturday, but I couldn't get the money that Wednesday. But I was able to do this and to hold things up, but we was able to pay off that whole debt, and we had $2,500. I'm serious. Now, that week, we didn't know where it was coming from. I ain't gonna tell you, I didn't put on no sackcloth and ashes. I didn't walk around the wall 7 times. I just continued to do what I was doing. Going to church, preaching, serving the people of the Most High. It's that. And that money, look, never mentioned it to the church. The church never knew. Because I don't bring my financial issues in the church, right? But look, God fixed it. Mm-hmm. See, I know that. See, that's a true story. So that's why I tell you I don't have faith. And I don't believe in God. I know God is real. Yeah. I'm beyond that. That's 101. Faith and belief is 101. Yeah. That's when you're crossing over into when you're still in the carnal mindset. Yeah. Once you start a real relationship, then you get to know God. And God, you'll see that God, with my land in Hammond, I told you how that happened. I'm so foolish. I'm a virgin. Uh-huh. I signed the note. You get 30 days. I go to Africa for 14 days or something. No, I go to Africa for more than that, and almost lost that deal. 37 acres for $85,000, not knowing what to do. You see what I'm saying? And so, but God, see, and that's what I told. Because the real estate agent said, the guy who told her about me, said, why you didn't get that for me? She said, well, you told me to get, not that much. I said, you know why he didn't get it past? She said, why? I said, because the Most High had it for me. Yeah. See, the Most High Creator had, that was for me, that wasn't for him. But we covered other people's blessings, or we try to cover, now this is a preacher now, covering another preacher's blessing. But I'm saying that to say, but the earth is the Lord's, the fullness thereof, so whatever you need, God's supposed to have it. If that's what you say you believe. That's what you say your faith is, because I told you where the biblical definition of faith is. Hebrews 11:1. Then 11:6 say, for without faith. But guess what it also says in Hebrews 11?
What's that?
It goes from Cain and Abel through David and Solomon, that there wasn't none but witnesses for God. That's all. What you are. They say, but looking into Yeshua, Haru, Jesus, the author and finisher of your faith. The next chapter, 12:1-2. Uh-huh. So they say that, so everybody won't be like, they send out stuff, I won't be like David, I won't be like this. When the Bible say you like them. In fact, but David, the Bible says the Spirit of the Lord entered into David and it never left. But in them days, God was with them more than in them. But see, you see that God kept confessing that I'm gonna put everything inside of you, in the inward part of you. Yeah. And this is what the new covenant is supposed to represent. So they had God with them, we have God in us. Right. And why are we not doing? These people did all these great things, and why are we not doing nothing?
I have a pastor friend on Facebook, right? And so he says the same thing that
baby, he will.
I want to be like this.
He will do it. Okay, go ahead.
He always talking about I want to be like somebody in the Bible. Yeah. He quote different names. And so my thing about it is, okay, what happened to Psalms 82?
Yeah, but you already like them. You human. Yeah. They nothing special was about, but that's what they teach. Again, they teach that to keep you from knowing that you just like them already.
And I thought, so if they did all these great things, that means they were walking in their godhood. So why you ain't walking in yours? Because
that's all they did.
Psalm 82 say you're a God.
That's all they did is recognize who they were.
Yeah, and Jesus come back and say, I can't remember what scripture it is. Was John something where he said, "Ye are God."
10:39.
Right. So why
isn't it written in your law that you are God?
Why are you want to make yourself less than what you're capable of being?
Because you're not taught what you are. You told all your life that you made an image and likeness of God. Uh-huh. But I ask people that been going to church 50 years, what that mean? What's the image and likeness of God? They can't explain it. They can't. But God showed me what it was. Mm-hmm. So I know what it is. Yeah. But I'm saying, I can't get an answer from preachers and everything. I ask them. So
Cause-
a lot of things that they teach, they can't even validate it.
Cause they
But
don't put a glass ceiling on
Come
their
on.
head. Now
where they in
you
the
got
box.
kids,
They're in
right?
the box.
Right.
Yeah.
You got kids, right? Likeness and the image of you and your wife.
Yeah.
Okay. I got kids, right? Now we all can say, well, we can put us at the same table, right? Okay. Now for us, race or whatever they type of cultural type of people are, we can say, well, yeah, they all from the same type of DNA type of thing, right? Melanin in their skin and all that, right? But if you look at my kids and look at your kids, and you got me and you standing there, you gonna say they belong to Bernard.
Yeah, of course.
They belong to Charlie.
Of course, and my
because they
kids-
made it out here.
Yeah, and my kids bright skin. And another thing, you could put us all on the wall. And if your grandkids standing way over there, once they open it, one of my little granddaughter say, "Oh, Papoka," I heard her. I said, "That's mine."
Yeah.
So you could tell it's yours.
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to be that connected. Well, if God is your father, then isn't you supposed to be that connected? If God says that you made in my image and after my own likeness, and then God says that I know the voice of my people so that they know my voice. So where the disconnect coming at?
Yeah.
So why, when he say go spread the good news, go spread the gospel, well, what's the good news? What's the gospel? That you've been returned back to the original state of man. That no longer do you have to let people put them isms in them. Because Jesus says that they'll put a yoke on your shoulder and won't take one finger to help lift it all. See, they'll put a lot on you because they ain't gonna do it. Because they don't believe it. You could tell what these people believe in. They show you. See, I tell people a story is not always told, it's shown. But then I had to realize that I have the gift of discernment. So sometimes I see what other people don't see.
Right.
And so, you see what I'm saying? Because I be paying attention. Now, people say, why you always do that? That's just who I am. And so my thing is, I'm so thankful to God for using me, because I look at it like the song testimony as I look back over my life and I think things over. Dude, I almost OD'd on smoking crack. Man, my heart palpitated. I was scared to death. Went around the block and started back to smoke. And I said, you damn fool. I've been dead. I'm telling you. But so I look at, you know how many times I had to throw up because I drank too much? That's part. When you're throwing up, you poison your body.
Yeah.
But we think it's funny, but we killing ourselves.
Oh man, and we are taught that that's a good time.
Exactly. But this is what we're taught. We're taught to self-destruct, not to maximize. Maximization of potential. Earlier you said something about your best. You putting your best foot forward. I put my best foot forward. Now we have some best foots going forward. If everybody that's listening, we all do that because everybody gifted in an area.
Right.
You know, I learned this a long time ago. Don't fool with jack all trades because they don't master none. Get a master.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Get a master. You get a master, you get a better chance at perfection because that's all they do. So they know that. They know it. But not saying that the other person that know everything can't do a good job, but usually, your attention is...
But I'm tell you what's a good thing about that jack of all trades. Okay, I can drive an 18-wheeler. I ain't no good at it, but I know the basic mechanic. I know what an 18-wheeler is. I know what it's supposed to do. Right. Same thing with a bus. Okay, I from being around you, I know about motorcycle. From being around you, those things you can do it. You can probably drive that just as good as you drive a car.
Oh yeah.
Me, I got issues. I got some serious issues. You might bag it up in here like it ain't nothing. I'm gonna have to do a bunch of stuff to get that thing right to back that truck up in here.
Right.
And then the other thing is, and certain mentality breeds certain, your certain spirituality about things, right? You love motorcycles. I ride one, but if I have to, if it's a mile away and come down to me riding a motorcycle and walking, I will walk because that's not
your thing.
And again, I don't trust myself on a motorcycle.
Right.
People say, well, you like riding a bicycle. Not to me.
Well, you have to know.
And some people just, you one of those guys that love to ride motorcycles.
But people generalize everything. Life is not general. because we all our own individual selves.
Yeah.
And so if life was just generalization, then we would be machines, just everybody doing the same thing at the same time.
Yeah.
But life is not general. Like you said, I like motorcycles. Now, it come down to knowing about housing and stuff. I know a little bit. Klein, as they say in Germany, but you know way more. That's your thing.
Yeah.
And now, you and I partnering up because you have this, but we both bring something to the table.
Right.
So we both, it's not one depending on the other one without having something, but everybody have a vested interest.
Right.
Going on.
Because with your
is.
thing on the financial thing, you know, the way you look at financial, we both analytical.
Right.
Okay. Now my analytical is putting together the parts and stuff right there, but your analytical thing is, okay, we got to look at these whole different things, how we going to get these financial relationship going.
Right.
That's a value commodity, which means whatever I'm doing, you know, you the kind of guy that can say, well, hey man, we need to be in line with this bank, that bank, this financial.
That's one thing I bring to the table.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I might know where all these resources are, but it's a whole different thing to cultivate those resources.
Right, that's true. It takes a team, man.
You know what I'm saying?
That's why they say take a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
But even the Bible tell you where 2 or 3 come together, touch and agree that God is in the midst.
Yeah.
God is not the author of confusion. Well, why there's so much confusion in the church? Because it's not being done right. So anyway, let's get on this last thing and wrap it up. We went everywhere. But anyway, the 11th chapter of John is about the death of Lazarus. We know the story about Lazarus being a friend of Yeshua, Jesus, Haru, and when he went into town, he went to their house for Aura and Aura, and so Lazarus was dying. Now, they have different accounts. Some accounts say that Lazarus was dying and they sent word to Jesus a couple of days early, and he purposely didn't go because the glory of God had to be seen. And then some, another account say he just went or whatever, he was going through. But anyway, so in John, he goes and he find out about the death of his friend. Now the people in the city, the so-called Jews, is shoo-shooing about. Now he raised somebody from the dead. He gave sight to the blind, all the things that he done, and he couldn't stop his friend from dying. This is his friend, But see, sometimes we don't get that God allow us. And see, you say, I like how when you always bring up, just because something don't go exactly the way you plan it don't mean it's the devil. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's that you ain't get in tune enough with God.
Yeah.
I've seen me lose out on stuff that God blessed me with because I was too stupid to know how to utilize it. Serious. I'm telling you the truth. Me. That was some years ago, but I didn't, because I was in a way not even noticing how selfish I was. Because I have a van, you have a contract, I want to work on your contract, but I don't want to pay you nothing. That's stupid. Mm-hmm. That's just stupid. So what happened? I lost the van to Katrina because that guy ain't go for that. So you see what I'm saying? But I wouldn't dare do that now. Because for you to be blessed, you have to bless. And so the point that I like to make is that you have to know what God is doing. So they're supposed to be in God, but they're looking at all the wrong stuff. So now here we got Yeshua, Jesus, Haru. He come into town. So Mary went running about her brother, and he started talking about, when that he was going to ride. And she said, yeah, in the resurrection. But he wasn't talking about in the resurrection because he knew that the power of God had to be shown to the people. Because remember, people are non-believers. I'm hungry, send your manna. Now I'm complaining because I want something else. But I'm hungry. I complain, you satisfy that, but I'm satisfied for a moment. I'm thirsty. Moses hit a rock. Water comes from the rock. That ain't enough to see the power of God. Now, let's be real. If this story was true, and you saw water running from a rock after the person hit it with a stick, you have to see.
Yeah.
I mean, that would sell me. You
Yeah.
understand? So people, even Yeshua, Jesus, Haru said that. He told a group of people, he said, you're not here because you believe. You know why he said it was that? He said, you here because what you heard been happening. You here to get what you want. And when you get it, you going to be out of here.
You're going to be out of here.
And what happened?
Yeah, because it's. I'm one of those persons who don't believe in miracles, right? And people say, well, how you gonna be a person of God, or all this about if you don't believe in miracles? I said, well, to me, a miracle is just something I don't know how it worked. Because if you say, biblically speaking, I can do all things, right? That means there ain't nothing that I can't do. So if it's nothing I can't do, especially when you tell me that it ain't nothing God can't do, then there's no such thing to me. There's no such thing as miracles, because all things don't leave anything out. So I said, again, to me, that means you're not tapping into your spirituality. Because if I can do all things, no matter who I get the scripture from, that means that
But again,
it just
go ahead, finish.
it's just me not being able to explain how certain things work.
Right. Yeah. Last week, I riled some stuff up because they had, people was talking about the coronavirus, and it's something to take serious. And but I'm like, wait a minute now, because preachers are all scared. I said, but it's not to be fearful. You shouldn't be afraid of it. I says, you afraid of? I said, now here y'all say y'all turn bread and wine into a living human, and you can't take a man-made disease and speak against it. But see, you could say you turn bread and wine into Jesus. See, that can't be challenged, because you have to be stupid to believe that.
Uh-huh.
Well, you have to have faith to believe that. But for me now, it's stupid.
Yeah.
I've been told this years ago. This ain't new. I've been telling I don't believe in that transubstantiation. So where your power, as long as it can't be challenged, you're powerful.
Uh-huh.
But now that you have something to challenge your power, you not trying to go up against that.
Right.
But you bad though. Let me see how bad you're. So now they're gonna. So I sent that. Then I sent the scripture that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. I put that God didn't give us the power of fear, but the power of the spirit of fear, but the spirit of power and might. Mm-hmm. Then I says you're covered by the blood of the Lamb. Y'all see all these things. Y'all tell people this stuff all the time, and you showing that you just talk.
Yeah.
You don't even stand on what you say you believe or what you impose on other people. All right, brother. Hey, what's up, man?
I sit here every day, so.
No, I remember from the VA. That's why I'm speaking to you.
On the what?
From the VA.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so I'm doing this. So you have all this, and you afraid. Then I put Jeremiah in there, by God being in your house. Where if you have this, I say for 15 to 20 years, y'all been being taught that you're gods. But then y'all still be posting about the devil.
Uh-huh.
Like, these two don't go together. Why waste time on something that's supposed to be done already?
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
So we go here, I go from here, and I just listen, but then I see why. And here's the deal, Charlie. These guys have a lot of education, but see the Yeshua, Jesus, Haru says, for some will forever learn but never come into the knowledge of the truth.
Right.
So they learn a lot, but they don't know the truth.
Right.
You see, because they fall right in with the wayward doctrine there. Mm-hmm. And so that's why, like here, getting back to this Lazarus deal. Now, so we know about that, and Lazarus died. He told him roll back the stake, the stone.
Uh-huh.
Now, what's critical is Lazarus was dead 3 days. Why 3 days? Why, on the one that says that he purposely waited Why 3 days though? Why 3 days? What's the significance of 3 days?
I have no idea.
3 days is because in the Jewish custom, after 3 days you was dead. They before then they figured like somebody can come and act like they, like say Jesus could come and raise them. But after 3 days, you've been dead 3 days, then they should have embalmed him or whatever, and he raised up. Then that's like, it's not no witchcraft. It's not no, you know what I mean. There's some power did this and stuff. So that's why, and it was to show the power of God. See, there was people that tell you it was to show the power of Jesus, but it wasn't. See, people say that it's not a Christian church if you don't talk about Jesus, but most Christian churches don't say nothing about God, and everything is Jesus. Jesus. When Jesus said, I didn't come to do my will, I come to do the will of the Father. He said, it's not mine to give, it's the Father's to give. So, clearly telling you where you have to focus your attention. But again, people that don't want you to see that you have some power, they want you to focus on something that, because he said, my job is done. He said, it's finished, it's done. What I came to do is done. So Jesus is out the equation now.
Right.
So he said at the right hand of the Father, you don't need him as an intercessor no more, because this finish is done. The veil been rent. You connected back to God. So the biggest error that people teach is that you have to still use Jesus as intercessor. That's why they say in Jesus' name after every prayer. But see, once you've been connected back to God, you don't have to go through Jesus because you've been sealed. You remember, I'm not asking you to take them out of the world. I'm asking you to take the world out of them. Sanctify them with thy word, for thy word is true. Sanctify means make them holy. Once you be made holy, then you become righteous. The Bible says then where sin abound, grace even more abound. So the grace of God is more powerful than anything. So if we was teaching this thing correct, well, if they was teaching it correctly, that's how you teach people out of the slave mindset. They don't want to do that because they want slaves.
Right.
Like I told them, if you could take up 20 collections, I'm just giving what I was going to give when I left home. I'm not participating in that.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there's an old saying, power perceived is power achieved. Right. And this is when I was like 12, my father walked in the church and beat up the pastor. And his thing was, he got tired of the pastor telling my mother how the household should be ran. And so during that time period, right, he exposed the pastor to some infidelity that he had going on in the church, right? And so when he exposed it to him, just from my lack of knowledge, right, or my knowledge was that, my father attributed that once the pastor started telling a woman how to run her household, right, then his next move was to try to sleep with the woman. And so my father thing was, okay, if my wife is abiding by and bringing rules that you set in my household, you're the man of my household.
Right.
Okay, so that means my wife had decided, right, that you was the power
Of this house.
And so he said, so well, I look at it as a teamwork, and he was going through this whole little thing. I still remember most of it. And so his thing about it was, you got all these people thinking you are, they connect you to God. And every time, any decision they need to make, they call you.
Right. That's
when you
right.
ask for money, they call you.
Right.
So you're using Jesus, and you're using God, but actually you done set yourself up
As God.
Yeah. And they all falling prey to you. He said, so don't tell my wife how my household should run. Right? God, and wanted to hold up, my dad just punched him in the face.
Yeah.
And he said, it's not. He said, so if you gonna, and he told us, my boys, y'all coming with me. And he stood at the back door. And he said, listen, I don't go to church. I ain't got no issue with people that go. He said, but from what I've seen, y'all being taught wrong. And he said, my father was a pastor. My mother-in-law is one of the most spiritual women that I've known. Y'all are not doing God's work. He said, I do more for the community without charging as a I think that's where I got that other trait from. That what y'all should be doing, I'm doing.
Right.
But y'all look at me because I own a couple of juke joints.
Right.
But he said, now it's about 40 y'all in this church. When you get real needy, do you come to your pastor or do you come to me?
Right. Right. Right.
And so it's that whole thing, that power thing. And we're looking at this thing where this is why I see people. You know, you're looking at these things. Okay, we started asking God for something, but we're asking the wrong entity when we should be asking the one that we're looking at in the mirror.
Right. Well, because what you have to do, what prayer is you connecting with God, and you asking God to give you what you need to go out and see that this thing accomplished with the guidance. Because remember, the Apostle Paul in Ephesians 6 and 13 start out about talking about the armor, put on your full armor of God. But everything is covered but where? Your back. You know why? Because God have your back.
Yeah.
Because Jesus said a person that put their hand to the plow and look back is not worthy of the kingdom. He says that a man must press towards the mark of the high calling. So everything that God has for you is in front of you.
Yeah.
Nothing God has for you is behind you. But God got your back to make sure that nothing that's trying to form behind you can overcome you. But if you sit there and still, then what God have to cover? Because you're not pressing, you're not plowing, you're not moving forward.
Yeah. So my question is though, like when I make that statement, okay, if Jesus came and raised Lazarus up, right, and his brother couldn't do it,
but that's the thing. But the thing,
it wasn't his mission, or what?
Well, but this was, you got to remember, at that time, the power wasn't really transferred yet. You understand? The preparation, this was during preparation time.
Okay.
And this thing had to be done to show that who God was, not who Jesus was, who God was. You see? And so, because here's what happened. Now, did Jesus like that Lazarus had to die? No. How we know that? When we go to a black funeral, the preacher stand up there and say, "Oh, don't cry, they're in the better play," all that foolishness. When somebody leave, you're gonna miss them. All that stuff take place, so they're gonna cry. The Bible says, "Weep and endure for night, but joy cometh in the morning." It also, but I sent them to Matthew 11:28-32. But with Lazarus, he knew that Lazarus was gonna die, right? His friend. Now, he didn't like that Lazarus had to die. How we know that? How can I make that statement? Remember now, this Jesus. Jesus knew everything.
Yeah.
So that's what they say. But he knew that Lazarus was going to die because he had to show God's glory. That's why it took the 3 days, because after 3 days, he was sure to be dead. Thirdly, is that when he was told about the event that he knew was going to take place, was the shortest verse in the whole Bible.
Jesus wept.
Jesus wept. In here, John 11:35. In John 11:35, it said Jesus wept. Now, if we not supposed to cry, Jesus knew he was going to raise Lazarus up from the dead, and he wept. Why? Because he had a human emotion. So why wouldn't I cry when my mama died, or when my sister died? Why wouldn't that affect me again? Because that human emotion gonna come in. Yeah, okay, we've been sold that bill of good about heaven and all that, but nobody never came back and said, "But I don't believe in all that stuff, mansions," and that's crazy. I tell you all the time, and I mean this with all I have been, man. If I went to heaven and they had streets paved with gold, I would tell God I want out. All these children down here suffering, not eating, they got streets paved with gold for spirits, not even bodies. Really? The whole concept. But you got to remember who taught that and why it was taught. It was taught that we're going to live good here. The Our Father prayer, we're going to live our heavenly experience. Y'all get y'all's in the bye-bye. That's what it was all about. And people still fall for that today. But anyway, that's on them. But so he said, so Jesus wept. And then Jesus raised Lazarus. But he wept why? Because his friend had the experience. Because supposedly, that God didn't intend for us to die. That's why he said, those who drink of this cup we'll never see that. Because you're not, and so the Apostle Paul tried to explain in 1 Thessalonians 4. You know, I had said that earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I have you not to be ignorant by those who went to sleep for in the law, for when the Lord is going to come with the voice of and like a trump of an archangel, and the dead in Christ should rise. This is Paul. Paul also tried to explain that. In fact, he said that is the last mystery known to man. And he tried to explain that in 1 Corinthians 15. And that's when he went to, for flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God. That you have to, the corruptible must be incorruptible, and stuff like that. You remember? I mean,
Yeah.
I know you read it, but it's been a long time. It's been a long time since I touched on it. That's I had to remember. But so these things was the explanation of trying to explain that. But it's not, again, when you use John 14, then in John 14, he said, there where I go, you will always go. But he says, I'm going to come back for you. You see, but you don't hear that part. But anyway, so why? Because people are taught to sell good stuff. Now, do you think he appreciated that Lazarus had to die, even though he knew he was going to raise it up? If he did, why he cried?
Yep.
So, but you don't never hear them rascals talk about Jesus wept. Why? Why they never say, oh, Jesus cried? Why they never say that? Because they have been trained to show Jesus as being non-human.
Uh-huh.
Jesus, notice this. Jesus didn't do nothing until the Spirit of the Lord came upon him.
Yeah.
From heaven. That's in Matthew 3 and 13 to 17.
Right.
He didn't do nothing. So he had to get that spirit in him.
Right.
So he was a man. That's how you know he had a wife.
Right. And see, that's why I say sometimes people get on that, and when you say, well, how they want to use it, if you can do what Jesus did at least, right? And everybody holler about you ain't Jesus. Well,
No, you're not. You're Charlie.
No, I'm Charlie.
But
I can do.
But in John, see, this the thing. See, I could pick him a little bit, like you said, because in John 1 and 12 said, "If for he who believes, not great works have I done." That's in John 14
Right.
and 12. But he said, "For they who believe are now sons." And
Yeah.
I say daughters of the Most High
Right.
Creator. So now you became equal to Jesus.
Right.
You remember that the Pharisees wanted to kill Jesus because they said he made himself equal with God. He said, count it not robbery that you're equal. So the Bible tells us who we are in God,
Right.
that we're God, but they tell you that you're not.
Right.
And because people don't read, don't study for themselves.
And you don't ask questions. You don't look at things. See, I analyze a lot of stuff.
Of course.
So if you're a God, and like you said, Jesus wept because his friend had to go through this. So if you're a God, then you don't have nothing to lose. Ain't nothing can happen to you. So what was the great sacrifice when he died on the cross? You see what I'm saying? So if hey, listen, man, you still got to go through all those human things. They might have used the word sacrifice, but to me, it's the example that you're supposed to follow. You're gonna have some pain and some headache going through some things. That don't mean you can't come out of it.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, look at Blanca would say.
Right. And
See, hell no.
Yeah, and so if you ain't willing to put in the work,
There you go.
because see, a lot of us look at sacrifice as something bad. A lot of times, but you got $100 in your hand, right? And you sit down and you watching TV and you want something to eat, okay? But you watching a picture that you don't want to miss,
Right.
but you hungry at the moment, okay? So there's some sacrifices got to be made.
Yeah.
If you want to watch that thing, you got to sacrifice being hungry for a few more moments, a few more minutes, an hour, whatever. Or you got to sacrifice your time watching the TV, getting up and going to the store and getting you something to eat.
Right.
But and out of sacrifice to me means there was a price paid
Yeah, that's what
to
it
do
is.
something.
But that's
it
what
don't
it was.
mean it's negative.
No, but that's what it was all about. Sacrifices, and we are looked at to sacrifice too. But you miss now people wanting to be the sacrifice.
Yeah.
They don't want to. People don't want to be the sacrifice. Why? Why don't people want to be the sacrifice? You know, what is it about sacrificing that you can't do because you know better? You know, because you're afraid, but
Yeah.
you're sacrificing anyway. You know, but you're not sacrificing right. But again, until till you learn how to rightly divide the word of truth. To like in Matthew 23, when he talked about those who aspire to sit in high place and see the Moses, and he said they put, yokes and stuff on people, show bird and break and won't peg one finger to help lift them up. He tell you it's all that, but you just have to warn it. You have to warn it again and wrapping this thing up. So like you can know something's going to happen. Something can happen. You're sad about it. God get you through it. God see you through it, and you have to be thankful and prayerful. But because remember the Bible say this what people don't get. The Bible say that when it rain on the just and the unjust. So because somebody is prospering, perceived to be prospering in life, doesn't mean that they're holy or righteous. Because people that believe in God get things and people that don't believe in God get things. But now, believing in God for me has been a lot more peaceful, a lot more, caused me to be a lot kinder, a lot more caring and grateful for God and for all that God has done.
I want to ask you something before we, like 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if a man walks in the night and he's stumbleth because there is no light in him. Now you mentioned that thing about the 3 days, and that's like 11 something. And when Jesus never did said did Jesus say he was dead, or I see Jesus say he slept?
Yeah, that's what he called it.
Okay.
But you remember he says those who are in him will never see that.
Okay.
And they call it sleep. That's why I told you in 1 Thessalonians, Paul says that I have you not to be ignorant by those who are asleep in the Lord.
Okay. I
That's
know.
how he
I'm
said
trying to.
it.
I remember something you had said.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
word sleep again.
Yeah, that's what they call it.
Uh-huh.
Sleep in the Lord. Dead.
Yeah.
You call
In the
it-
grave.
Yeah, you dead. But I'm just saying how they, how they use it. But anyway, so stop letting people make you think that being human is bad. Because you live the human experience, things happen to us, and some things we just need to reach out. That's why God gave us each other. That's why He said, He says in James 5, go to the elders. The elders supposed to be. Do you know why they tell you go to elders? Because the elders are supposed to have wisdom.
Yeah.
They're supposed to know how to make things happen. My wife had a little touch of the coronavirus. Like, we didn't know, by the time she got tested, hell, it was gone. Because the last 3 days she took her temperatures, no more fever, so it's gone. But I'm like, drink this vitamin C. Then I bought sea moss and put the sea moss and vitamin C together, some lime and stuff. She drinking it. She jetting. It's gone. But because you know why? Because she gave her body what it needed to fight with. See, the body is designed to fight.
Yeah.
But we take the body's ability to fight away from it when we misuse it.
Yeah.
So once we start putting back in the body what it needs, for instance, I was 33 or 34 when I stopped drinking, 1993. 1993, I was 32. When I stopped drinking, just made 33. When I stopped drinking, I had, 32. I just got to a point where I didn't want to drink no more because I was a lush alcoholic. And I went to the doctor about 3 months later, and he asked me, did I drink? And I said, no, I stopped drinking 3 months ago. He said, good, because your liver was starting to get high, showing signs of damage. Now, I'm like 32 years old, and I'm damaging my liver already. Well, here's the blessing. It wasn't so damaged where it couldn't heal itself. And I stopped drinking before I knew this, but it healed itself. So the body is made, I had ulcer.
Yeah.
It healed itself. But why? Because I stopped punishing it with the way I was punishing it. now I'm trying to put better things in me.
Yeah.
And I'm conscious of what I do ingest because I know how critical it is. And so that, and then my wife again with the corona, and then they told her when she went, I brought her to the clinic, they tested me, my temperature was good. So they didn't give me the corona test. But so when they told her she had the symptoms, all she had is the fever, and then she started getting headaches and then. So they told her that she had to go, that we need to isolate. She need to isolate. I said, we're not isolating shit. When you, Lord forgive me, when it was really contagious, I was right here. But I'm alkaline up, see? So it didn't do me nothing.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it don't make sense now for us to do that when we've been here all the time together. So I didn't do it.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting that other people do what I done. I'm just telling you, I just didn't feel the need. But again, I come from the perspective that no weapon formed against me should prosper, that, God is almighty, all-seeing, all that stuff that they say. I come from that perspective in my living.
Right.
So, that's, and again, I don't tell people stuff that I don't do.
Right. And again, your armor was part of that. Your armor had a lot to do with your knowledge on what you take to keep your body healthy.
Yeah.
So I know I need the sea moss. I know I need the vitamin C. I need to know that. That's
all. Raw vitamin C.
I know I need to put this armor on my arm to keep from getting cut. So you know these things, but a lot of us don't do it. Don't do it.
No.
And we don't seek that now. Like you say, going to the elders.
Yeah.
Most trees live a long life.
Oh yeah.
But they don't get diseased and get contaminated, have a shorter life until man get involved.
Right. I have the picture of two different trees. Mm-hmm. One around 3,000 years old, another one 5,000 years old in Africa.
Uh-huh.
Serious.
Yeah.
1,000 in Africa. Okay. So anyway, go ahead, because I got a close because my phone about to die.
Okay, go ahead.
It's under 10%. So anyway, we thank you all for coming on, but know that because something happened, it's not the devil. If you ain't God, then the devil may have no involvement, but God needs us to become stronger, wiser, and to move intelligently. Stronger, wiser, and intelligent. That brings on wisdom, like Brother Charles was talking about. It says to go to elders, but it finishes saying, for the effectual fervent prayer of the righteous availeth much. So the thing is, in God, we have to be righteous. So remember, God said there's something going to come amongst you like as sheep and wolf. There's wolf in sheep clothing. So you're going to have that element to be careful who you allow in your sacred space. But in all that getting, get it overstanding. Overstanding is God says, I know your voice, and so should you know my voice. If you don't know the voice of God, that means you need to seek a better relationship with God. God bless you. God keep you. This is truly my prayer. Assalamu alaikum. Ashe. Peace. Namaste. Bye-bye.